Hello. Welcome to the Church of Chonkwij podcast. My name is Roger Corman. I am joined tonight by OmegaConstruct, Punlord Musquitme, and Zero Burn.
Uh, Why am I suddenly aroused?
Because you are familiar with the cinematic masterpieces created by Roger Corman.
Got it.
You just didn't want to have to pronounce your name, so you took on someone else.
That's correct. So, for the remainder of the evening, I will be Roger Corman.
Zero, do you want to do a Legion event?
Right in the middle of doing a stronghold right now, so
Off to a strong start here. Anyway, wanted to say, just wanted to open with this happy feel-good story for everybody. BattleBit Remastered is a game that's on Steam. It's dominating. It's very popular. It's $15. There's no microtransactions. And the cover image here makes it look pretty dumb, but scrolling down, it's a pretty fucking cool-looking game. And if I was into battle royales and PvP, I might actually be checking this out. So, great.
You know, it's
Nice game.
I threw that on there just because, I think it's worth talking about the fact that, indie games can compete. They can still compete in, some big genres. And it's nice to see a studio make a game that people are loving that isn't chock full of all of the shit that you just listed, the microtransactions, just all the stuff that we've come to hate about the state of modern AAA gaming. Well, it's cool to see that, there's something out there able to compete with that, even in a market as heavily saturated as, first-person shooter, battle royale type games. I'm never going to fucking play the game, that's for sure.
Minecraft graphics.
Yeah,
or Roblox graphics, which take your pick.
Yeah, it's PUBG, Apex style game with Roblox style graphics. Costs $15, and you can play it all you fucking want.
So yeah, this is a special time.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
It was the baby ice cream of times.
I can hear Schrodinger from his grave. Nice.
Oh, that crazy physics bastard. Alright, so the next thing, just briefly before we get into the main topic of the night, which is going to be Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. A Blizzard title thingy. Apparently over the weekend, Diablo 4 and other Battle.net games got socked. I was going to say stuck, then I was going to say shook, then I correctly landed on socked with a DOS attack. Why? Just random... Just bullshit? I mean, this happened in D3 a couple times, but there was no rhyme or reason to it. Was it just that time of year?
I'm guessing it was just that time of year because they couldn't pinpoint a reason.
Sometimes people just like to do it because they can. For the lulls, as they might say on the interwebs.
That used to mean something. Yeah. But, yeah, anybody get affected by this? I think Fluffy was trying to log on and couldn't make it.
Yeah, I saw Fluffy raging a little bit. I did not. I missed it.
Poor Mama Lilith. She just wants to spread her joy.
I just want her to step on my foot.
Like Carmen, what the hell for Cameron Diaz? You know, who's the lady that used to be big in Vanilla Sky back in like 2001? Cameron Diaz.
Vanilla Sky. Oh god, that was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, hell of a long time ago. I am making a reference to a movie that was based on a story by Cormac McCarthy because unfortunately the author Cormac McCarthy passed away this week. Author of such things as All the Pretty Horses and Country for Old Men. Great books. Even good movies, some of them. But yeah, rip. Cormac McCarthy. And there was one movie that was based off a book where I did where Cameron Diaz rubbed her vagina all over somebody's windshield while he was watching, and it absolutely scarred and horrified him for the rest of his life because it looked like one of those. What are the fucking aliens? The bat things in Empire Strikes Back when the Millennium Falcon is inside that cave. Minox, a Minoc. Yeah, because her vagina looked like a Minoc trying to get into the Millennium Falcon, and it was terrifying. It really was.
In the words of Egon Spengler, I'm terrified beyond the point of all rational thought.
The capacity for rational thought. Yep.
Yes, that.
Yep. Pretty much. So yeah, anyway, go check out a Cormac McCarthy book. Or a movie based on one of his books. They're all good. Okie dokie. And now for the fun of the evening. I hope you all brought your socks, because you're going to need to hang on to them.
I don't wear socks at home. What are you talking about?
I don't wear pants, so we're both in, we're in some trouble here. But Phil Spencer has had a week. Zero, you were the one who posted all these articles. I'm just going to go through them.
He's I knew that there was a meeting between him and the FTC coming up, but I didn't quite realize that Phil Spencer was going to show up to said meeting and just lay his dick out on the fucking table.
He made some definitive statements. For one, that Call of Duty is not going to become an Xbox or PC exclusive. It will come out on PlayStation and PlayStation 5, future versions, all the rest of that. Yeah, there's a paragraph here where he just sort of spewed it out. During the same hearing, the FTC's lawyer also asked Spencer about the price that Microsoft is paying for Activision Blizzard, which is, the FTC lawyer believes, an upfront payment. In his response, Spencer explained that this isn't how acquisitions worked. This is where the article turned into big brain stuff that's just complete nonsense to poor stupid little me. Spencer said, and I quote, "No, when you acquire something, it's not a payment. It's like you buy a house. You're buying an asset that has value, so it's really a transfer of cash into an asset called called Activision in this case, that you believe retains the value that you acquired." So I didn't understand. To me, it's like, I tried to come up with some analogy for this. To me, I think he might be saying that it's like, no, I'm not buying the house, I just have $70 billion, and I'm going to store my $70 billion in cash inside of the house, and after a certain amount of time, the house will belong to me, and then I can move the $70 million out of it. That's as close as I got. But the rest of this I don't understand. I'm just too stupid. I can't understand his big brain business thinkings. Anybody else want to give it a shot?
I mean, no, but I'm going to. No, it just it's like I've said to all of the people who are willing to listen, and which aren't many. And it's the sale is going to go through, whether it's Activision Blizzard or just Activision. The sale is going to happen. Whether the companies are broken up is completely up to how Microsoft wants to get their hands on the product. It's happening regardless. It's just a matter of the finer details.
I get there. I mean, I'm with you on that one. I'm not quite clear on how $70 million or $69 billion. Let's keep it $69 billion. Nice. Is not actually the price tag to Activision Blizzard, according to Mr. Spencer. It's an investment. They're not. He's trying to argue that they're not paying $69 billion for it so much as they're investing in something that they think is worth potentially more than $69 billion. So they're not buying, they're acquiring. This is what I'm not clear of. This terminology. This is not.
Yeah, I mean,
I took economics. This was not in the economics class I took.
There's no way to explain it without sounding like bullshit. But it sounds like he's making what is effectively a philosophical business argument of like, when you buy something, it is something that you need that you're going to then use, and you now have a thing that you use. When you acquire and invest in something, you are expanding into something new. I don't know. It's all bullshit, but like, there's something there if you want to believe that words and bullshit mean something.
It's I guess it is. Well, if it's bullshit, if it's a philosophical argument or something like that, then he felt comfortable walking into a wait, what was this? Yeah, he felt comfortable walking into a hearing with the FTC and putting his balls on the table and saying, "Yeah, this is how it really works."
I mean, that's literally what those type of hearings are. It's all just a bunch of words that are mostly bullshit. Nobody actually says anything, and if you do, you're just screwing yourself. That's pretty much how that works.
I'm thinking that this isn't going to do anything to stop the FTC's injunction. Because the other thing that came out about this, a couple of articles here, the next thing that we can talk about is the FTC injunction is not trying to... It is effectively trying to halt the merger, but it is not a court order that says you cannot do this. They're trying to delay the merger until past the point where Activision Blizzard and Microsoft have set a deadline so that it will incur a $3 billion penalty to Microsoft and potentially sink the deal with Activision. So that's all they say. They're just trying to delay it so that there's an extra $3 billion on top of the $69 billion, if that's how it ends up working. So for whatever that's worth, apparently there's no argument that this is definitively a monopoly, or it would become a monopoly on the console market specifically, because that's what everybody seems to be focused on this week.
I mean, that sounds like the kind of fuckery that I'd come to expect from, companies doing business.
Yeah. And it is fun to watch this because these are multi-billion-dollar companies trying to duke it out. I honestly, I just hope that both teams lose.
I mean, that's the dream.
Then both teams lose and that the consumer wins. Like when Apple took Epic to court. That was a great result for the consumer. But yeah, let's see. The next one was Phil Spencer accuses Sony of using earnings from their games to reduce Xbox's survival on the market. So again, another development in these hearings was that Phil Spencer revealed, quote unquote. He declared in court, and has even had to assure under oath that no, that's Call of Duty will appear on PS5. Yes, obviously it will. So Microsoft launched its own videos, 30% earnings. Oh, so yeah, he also declared in the hearing that, according to Spencer, quote, when Microsoft launches its own video games on PlayStation consoles, the 30% of the earning kept by Sony per transaction is used to try to reduce Xbox's survival on the market, which implies malpractice when trying to weaken the competition.
So wait, say that again?
He's come out with this accusation that every time when Microsoft launches its own video games and it wants them to be on PS5, there's 30% of the earning of every sale of that Microsoft game that Sony keeps. And Phil Spencer has said that it uses that 30%, Sony uses that 30% to try and reduce Xbox's survival on the market.
Well, yeah, that's
not terribly surprising.
That's business competition, yes? Or is he alleging that that's somehow foul play?
The way that he says it, it's alleging foul play, but the way that I read it and the way that I understand how capitalism works, that's just how companies compete. I don't think that anything illegal has happened there. I don't think. Yeah, but again, I'm stupid.
Like I said, this sounds even more like, words that are just a lot of words that they like to say because that's what, politicians and, that's what you do in those situations.
Oh,
Yeah,
so many words.
I mean, it is. They
You
have.
guys should watch Succession. I just finished watching that show, and it gives a really fun view of what the corporate world is like.
There's also a documentary on the Versace family that has been called the Anti-Succession because their father is not a complete psychopath. I haven't seen Succession. I don't know what any of the characters are like.
It's a
But,
very fun show.
yeah.
Or
I
it's a
hear
very good show. Fun might not be the right word for it. It's a very good show.
I hear it's about a family where everybody is trying to screw themselves over for money and power.
Basically, it's about, like, imagine that the Murdoch family, which runs Fox News, combined with, like, the Disney family, and, like, just a mega media conglomerate that's basically Fox News plus Disney. And, it's like the Murdochs. They're, ruthless businessmen who have no qualms about buying politicians and fucking over the country for their own, corporate benefit, which is, accurate.
That's how you do.
And it's each member of the family is like, it's family owned. The father, old and decrepit, and wondering when he's going to die, when he's going to name a successor. That's the basic premise of the show: is who's going to run the company. And it's his 3 kids, plus a whole cast of other characters in various positions in the company, vying for control of it. But yes, obviously it's a drama and things are exaggerated, but you do learn, just from watching it, a good deal about the way that that corporate structures work, and how mergers and acquisitions work. And obviously the way that, like I said, the way that they go down in the show is very much dramatized, but the structure of things is there. So it's kind of fun.
If you take out the whole corporate mergers and acquisitions and the modern day setting of that show, you basically just described Marco Polo, the show about Marco Polo going through and meeting Kublai Khan.
Well, I mean, it's very Shakespearean. It's very like kids trying to kill their father. It's it's a great allegory to a lot of other stories that have been told. And it's really fun. It's a good show. I literally just watched the finale with Steph yesterday. We the finale of the show actually aired like a month or 2 ago, but we didn't start watching the show until very recently, so we're a little bit late. But I recommend it.
Well,
You'll either love the show, or you'll just be so infuriated by it that you can't watch it. You'll try it and you'll hate it. But
What is it on?
It's a HBO Max.
Okay.
Well, it's on HBO, but yeah, if you have Max, that's how you can watch it. But like, basically, it's just imagine a whole bunch of people who have no qualms about being absolutely ruthless to each other to win what they want.
All right, if you're gonna recommend that, then I'm gonna recommend Marco Polo, because it sounds like they're very much in the same vein, not setting wise, but story wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good times. Okay, so yeah, but then the Xbox or the Phil Spencer hearings with the FTC did not end there. It's day 2. Microsoft's FTC trial court documents point to a new Xbox in 2028. So it's suspected that Microsoft's gonna try to put out a new console, generation 6, Gen 5, and whatever, in 2028, which will coincidentally coincide with a new Bethesda Elder Scrolls game. So in this article, in this particular argument, I guess the FTC was pointing to Microsoft and saying, hey, When you acquired Bethesda, you said a whole bunch of shit about not making things Xbox exclusive. Now, Starfield is coming out, and it's, surprise, surprise, an Xbox exclusive. It was slated originally before Bethesda was purchased by Microsoft. Star Citizen, is that what I said? Star Citizen was going to be on Xbox, PS5, and PC. Now it appears that it will be on Xbox and PC way before it's on PlayStation, if it ever is on PlayStation. So you used that example and said, hey, if you buy, Activision Blizzard, you're saying all this stuff that, it's like Call of Duty, it's going to remain on PS5, all this stuff, but you've already demonstrated that you lie. Yeah, they do. But Microsoft says, no, don't worry, no, it's fine, everything's fine.
But they also brought up the fact that that PlayStation dropped
Starfield, not Star Citizen. Starfield. I apologize.
Dropped a huge wad of cash on Square Enix to keep Final Fantasy from hitting the Xbox. And
sure,
I mean,
well, this is a classic case of projection, really, because PlayStation's entire model is exclusive.
Yes. Yeah.
In the battle of the consoles, the only thing one console has over the other, or the only two things, are going to be performance and exclusives. Yeah, anything that's cross-platform, sure, it's a wash. But PlayStation's entire model is... I mean, it's funny. I forget which game it was, but recently, the latest edition of one of Sony's long-established franchises that has long been exclusive, I think it's Ratchet & Clank, they announced... I could be wrong, though. They announced that it was going to be cross-platform, and all the comments on the article were just a shit ton of butthurt PlayStation fanboys who were upset that it wasn't exclusive anymore. Like, it's so petty. For no reason other than they're fanboys and they want it to be exclusive. And that's the thing. And, fuck those people.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
the PlayStation and Xbox fanboy thing. And look, I have evolved. I have, I do have a PlayStation, but I also realize that exclusives are fucking terrible for the consumer. Like, terrible.
Yeah,
for the consumer.
it's fucking. It was. I would have played Anno 1800 if it had come out on. This is not like a console versus PC thing. This is an internal PC thing. But Anno 1800 came out and it was an Ubisoft Uplay exclusive or some shit. And no, I wasn't gonna do it. And it wasn't available on Steam. I probably would have bought and played that game if it had come out on Steam. But that's not 100% what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But yeah, when you have a game, it's different when you own an Xbox and you don't own a PS5 and something is supposed to come out for both platforms and then all of a sudden it's a PS5 exclusive. Yeah, what are you supposed to fucking do? Go out and buy a $600 console or some shit? No.
That's what they expect you to do.
That's their
yeah, it is.
model.
That is.
Hey,
and yeah, as far as
amazing games that you can't get on other platforms, so if you want to play them, come and get them.
Jesus, every single Mario game.
Yeah.
And getting into that, your thing, Omega, where it's just like, exclusivity is just how the game is played. Yes, it is, but that doesn't really support a monopoly argument. In fact, it weakens your monopoly argument, or argument against a monopoly. So what Xbox is trying to say instead is that we do have Xbox exclusives, but it pales in comparison to Sony's market share. And Microsoft has been spitting out these numbers for months now. In terms of the console market, Xbox makes up about 30%, Sony makes up 70%. So those are the numbers that they've been spewing out, which is when you isolate it to those two, that is accurate, yes. Xbox titles, Xbox has in Phil Spencer's own words, Xbox has lost the console wars, and yeah, they are definitely in the minority. Sony is the majority. However, because I just brought up Mario, there are two consoles that are more popular than Xbox. Sony's and Nintendo's. And Nintendo always gets left out of that statistic, and I think, but I can't actually say this definitively with numbers, I can only speculate about it from what I've read. I think that PlayStation and Sony, Sony and Nintendo are making up most of that 70. It's actually divided between two companies, and Xbox is throwing itself in there at the end to make it look smaller than it is. So that's pertinent because if you're going to make more and more games exclusive to Xbox, you're going to creep up on that share real fast, and you're not as far apart as 30 and 70. You're more like 30 and 35. So, yeah, exclusivity is how the game is played. It is how you get ahead in the market. That's exactly what Microsoft wants to do, because why the fuck wouldn't they? And, that's just where this went. So yeah, fun times.
I love the politics of business.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely makes things a little bit more interesting. And we all knew that when the EU denied the acquisition, that the FTC was not going to be far behind in trying to figure out how to stop this. Again, I don't think it's going to be stopped per se.
Yeah, right. Just a matter of the final form.
Yeah. This isn't even my final.
Thank you.
See, I'm gonna again shout out Succession here because they outline what could happen when mergers like this face regulatory issues, and it's stuff like how they might spin off certain divisions or different ways that they could go about appeasing regulatory bodies. It's really kind of fascinating stuff. So I look forward to I've been a politics nerd for a long time, and but I haven't really been a business nerd. But when you look at business as just a different kind of politics, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Capitalism.
I mean,
It's the only structure where a dictator can actually be legitimately popular.
Well, think about back to our childhood when it was Super Nintendo and PlayStation. Back then,
And the Dreamcast.
competition was
The Sega Dreamcast.
Exactly. The competition was, hey, let's make the best shit, the best games, the best, because back then there were, I would say, more exclusives. Even
that's because most of the studios that were creating those games because they were owned by the company that was putting out the console. That was in-house development. So that I totally get that.
And what is buying a studio and making it part of your company but the new form of in-house development? But it's just funny to see how what used to be the battleground of who can make the best product, who can make the best games, really innovating on the tech. Now they're competing in court. Now they're taking their arguments in front of government bodies and arguing, legal semantics and trying to convince people who don't actually know what these guys are talking about that they make the most sense. Because that's what all this bullshit that he's saying is. It is him trying to convince a bunch of people who are idiots, and by that I'm talking about the, people in this government body that they've been talking to. They don't know shit about video games. They don't know a goddamn thing about fucking video games. None of them are gamers. None of them follow the industry. None of them understand how game studios get bought and sold or what that means in practical sense, the way that you and I do. So Phil Spencer goes out there and says a bunch of stuff that has been very carefully practiced and rehearsed and pre-written, and it's been on note cards, and he has practiced answering these questions with his PR people ahead of preparing for this event, and it's all to just sound both reasonable and confusing enough. Like you want to sound smart, but don't explain it so well that they understand what you're saying, so that they don't question you. And that's all this is. It's just a bunch of bullshit.
Well, you might have passed over one of the most important differences between game studios putting out shit back in the day when we had the Sega Dreamcast and today when we have PS5 is which of those companies putting out those games was paying the most taxes. It's definitely PS5, Microsoft, and Nintendo today. And when there's taxes to be had, the government wants its cut. So yeah, that it makes a lot more sense to me today that they're paying more attention to who's buying what and who's expanding where, because they want their fucking money and they want a healthy competition or a healthy competitive environment so that we can inspire more people to give them money.
Well, it's because video games now are a trillion-dollar market.
Thanks, COVID.
Put it all together. So, back in the day, the government didn't care when companies were making tens of millions of dollars a year. Now that companies are making tens of billions of dollars a year.
Whoa! We need some of that.
Yeah, there's they gotta get their beak wet. Government needs to get its share, and there's a lot more of a share to go around now. But here's the thing: it's not just the fact that games are making so much more money; it's the fact that fucking true big business is investing in games now. It's the fact that hedge funds and like massive conglomerate holding companies that purely exist just to own other companies to make money. Yeah, that's what video games are becoming nowadays. So yeah, you need to get the financial regulations involved.
And I don't think that anybody here is interested in white knighting for any corporations or governments. I am all for the government squeezing the ever-loving shit out of multi-billion-dollar industries. But if they could squeeze that money out of the higher-up echelons, that'd be great. Because Phil Spencer does not need a $47 million bonus at the end of each quarter.
Yeah, I agree. The problem, like I said, is that the government doesn't put people in these positions who are always the best for the job.
Hey, and the last little tidbit that came out from Xbox this week was Phil Spencer confirming that Sony paid Square Enix to skip Xbox Series XS completely during the FTC trial. Zero, you touched on this earlier, but yes, Sony has already done this. They've already gone in the past. They've made deals with other studios who were not owned by Sony, who were not owned by Microsoft. And Sony has told them, hey, we'll give you this much money if you just make it a PS5 exclusive. And again, I'm not sure that any laws have been broken there. Again, dumb. But that just seems like late-stage capitalism to me. I mean, yeah, this happens. What's the big deal here? Does the government not know that this happens?
It's normal.
I mean, it's a normal thing in the industry. The only thing is it's
it's a feature.
It's up to the company who is being handed big metal briefcases full of unmarked bills, as to whether or not they want to accept it. For certain games, they're not going to accept it. Like in the case of Square Enix and Disney with Kingdom Hearts 3 when it came out. Square was like, actually, it was more Disney was like, no, we want to get our hands on as much of the market share as possible. And Square Enix said, okay, they're a 50-50 partner in this game. We have to listen to what they want. So they listened, and Kingdom Hearts 3 was released on Xbox as well as PlayStation. So it's just up to the company as to whether or not they are willing to accept said money.
Yeah. So those are the most recent developments in Microsoft's attempted acquisition of Activision Blizzard. There seems to be a trickling of news coming out about this pretty frequently, so yeah, we'll probably keep on top of it. But yeah, this is fine.
Everything's fine. The entire gaming industry's on fire constantly anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, pretty much. Much like our game last night almost caught fire to a whole room full of books.
Yep, sorry.
No, nothing to apologize for. Very well aimed scorching rays. One couch was a casualty, but nobody liked that couch anyway.
It didn't. Hey, you know what? At least I didn't burn up a rug. Those rugs really tie the room together.
That's true. We haven't seen any tapestries yet either, have we?
Nope.
They must not believe that we're Scottish lords. Oh, Indiana Jones 5, I believe, came out, or is coming out, or something like that. I don't know. I don't have the heart to pay attention to it. I don't know what
Hooray,
it's about.
Harrison Ford and the Nazis.
Oh, are the Nazis back?
Yes, the Nazis are always back.
But the last one took place during the Cold War. The Nazis are gone during the Cold War.
It's an Indiana Jones movie. The Nazis are never gone.
Does Indiana Jones find a secret Nazi moon base?
I hope so.
There's a great movie called Iron Sky that did that. Everybody should also go and watch Iron Sky. Nazis on the moon. And there's a black astronaut in that movie, too. It's like a unicorn.
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, we just, nope. I just got word. This is coming through breaking news. We just lost half of our audience. Good job, everybody.
Why? Fucking temperamental unicorns. Alright, so I did find two more. One that's fun. One that's we can talk about this one because this is actually a little hopeful. I'm hopeful. That's a good word for this. Alright, so the United States has announced a $42 billion plan to make high-speed internet universal by 2030 in our country. And this is part of the $1 trillion infrastructure, $1 trillion 2021 infrastructure package that was passed by the Biden administration. So $42 billion to get, let's see, downstream, 100 megabytes per second downstream, so divide that by 8, that's your actual speed, and 20 megabytes per second upspeed, divide that by 8, that's your actual speed, by 2030. So you think we can do that in 7 years? You think we can get high-speed internet to the most rural corners of our country in 7 years? Because I don't, but I'd love to see it happen.
I mean, there's always hope, but
yeah.
I don't have a lot of faith.
We do have, I mean, we actually, see, that's always the problem is, what's the next administration going to do? Are they going to, is there a way to put the brakes on this or not? Is it just already written into the bill and the funds are already distributed and the plan is set and can't be interfered with? Or is somebody going to try to bump this up to the Supreme Court and say, that's not constitutional, rabble, 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 rabble? But anyway, that'd be neat.
Somebody will say something about it not being constitutional. That is a given.
But if it does go through, Masami, how would you like fiber optics in South Dakota? You probably have good internet. You're in a population center, but
we're currently waiting.
Yes, it would be wonderful. Our cable internet is good. We have a decent company out here. No horror stories really to report on that one, but yes, fiber optics everywhere would be great.
So it's definitely not Comcast or Cox. So
we've got a lovely company called Midco, and I have adored their service for the last decade and a half that I've had it.
See, that's nice. You have a reliable service. But as much shit as people talk about Verizon, FiOS, I don't have service outages. Like, I can count on one hand the number of times in the 15 years I've had them that I've had a service outage, and 2 of those were power outages that lasted a week.
Yeah, so that was beyond their control.
Yeah, that was... you can't really blame them for that. And when the transformer blew outside my house, I called them up, I was just like, hey, when my transformer blew, it fried your box in here. You might want to send somebody over. They're like, yep, okay. Next day, a guy came over, took one look at the box, ripped the entire thing out of the wall, threw it on the ground. I was like, huh, that's very technical. He's like, it's cheap Chinese shit. It's based. Based repairman. Oy.
I will tell you, Cox is awful. We had lightning strike our building 2.5, 3 years ago, and it fried our modem and router. It was right before the pandemic because I had to drop $400 on new equipment. Right after the pandemic started, and when I told them, hey, lightning struck the building, it fried our modem, they said, okay, we're sure that the modem or that the cable lines are fine. It probably just affected your modem through the electrical lines. And I said, no, the lightning bolt struck right next to the node.
Let me explain to you how electricity works.
The lightning strike happened right next to the node outside of my window. Grass has not grown in that spot since the lightning struck there.
That might be a focal point of demonic power that's used to,
power all of my electronics in the house. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there, maybe. Man.
Yeah, but yeah, no, God was trying to smite whatever the power source is for my electronics is exactly what it is. Or Allah, or whatever deity you pray to. I don't want
the Great
to.
Spaghetti Monster.
Yes.
That's how that works. Wait a minute. All right, for this last one, I'm going to try to get a... all right, there, that'll have to do. So for the last article, I thought this was a lot of fun. Let's see. Did it. Suds for Sud God. Power Washing Simulator is getting a Warhammer 40k crossover, because why the fuck wouldn't it?
What? Okay, nope, definitely buying this game now.
So Power Washing Simulator is going to get a crossover with the sci-fi series Warhammer 40k. Right now it's just a trailer, but yeah, you're basically going to be able to wash something. It says clean up the grimness. Okay, sorry. It says, quote, clean up the grim darkness of the far future when Warhammer 40k comes to Power Wash Simulator.
Wait, is that going to be... If that's filled with, like, gory blood and guts and just, like, really lays into it, that would be amazing.
It would be, because really that is... If you're cleaning up anything, if you're trying to, first of all, it doesn't look like anything. If I'm going to be honest, just looking at all the artwork, remembering all the lore and everything, I don't think anybody cleans shit in Warhammer 40k. Everything is just permanently covered in grime, gore, blood, vomit, and spooge, depending on how obedient to Slaanesh you are. And, yeah, so I would love to see this as just, oh, here's the aftermath of an orc drop pod raid. And you have to clean up all these body parts and get everything spick and span, get the Hive City spick and span so that people can get back to work making ammunition for the Empire's wars.
Yeah, like, I hope you're power washing away fucking dismembered body parts and just, like,
teeth,
trails, just spilled fucking entrails across, just power wash that shit away. Oh my god.
Gotta
Like,
get in there with the low gauge cleaner, so you can really get that detail. Really get
yeah.
into those details.
Yeah, and if you find orc teeth while you're cleaning, you should be able to collect those and trade them in for cash.
Agreed. Oh, Doc.
It's
guys,
it's their currency.
if this sucks, we need to like somehow make this ourselves, because clearly we have ideas, and if they
That
can't make
nobody
this
else has
good,
thought of.
we need to do something about that.
I hope
We need an absolutely brutal, gory fucking. Even if we don't use the Warhammer IP because of copyright and all that good stuff, a fucking power washing simulator that is just fucking full of gore and just like awesome fucking Metalocalypse level shit. That's right. Yeah, there'd be a whole setting that would just be as if you were like the Metalocalypse janitor.
you're just one of the cleaning crew for the Metalocalypse Castle.
You're just one of Deathclock's janitors.
Mordhouse.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
that was the name of
Yeah,
their place.
Mordhouse.
That would be awful.
It'd be fucking
So
great.
much jizz.
Somebody call
So
Brendan
much
Smalls. I've got a proposition for him.
Somebody tweeted Henry Cavill. I'd like him as a creative consultant.
jizz.
Oh man. So yeah. Anyway, the Deathclock Baby Metal tour, by the way, coming up this September. End of August, actually, into September and October. Just to remind people, that's still a thing.
Which is amazing. I'm just
It-
saying,
a
there's
great
there's
thing.
nothing that's not amazing about that.
It is a great thing. And I'm happy that I think Omega posted, one tweet where somebody was trying to give Baby Metal shit, and Rob Zombie came on and just like, yeah, they rock harder than you. And since then, I have discovered that there's an entire meme base of basically people. It started off with a lot of Rob Zombie just coming to the defense of people that he had done shows with, done work with, being like, yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? These people are great. It's so wholesome.
Rob Zombie is such a decent person.
I think that the entire metal community is a lot more wholesome than people give him credit for.
I mean, true.
Because when you're up on stage for like 3-4 hours a day, screaming your guts out and playing the most brutal black metal, when you're not doing that, I have to imagine that you're stress free. Life is actually it's nice.
Your career is basically constant catharsis. How do you
Yeah.
have energy left to be angry when you're not on stage?
It's like going to the gym for 4 hours a day. It's like, yeah, when you get home, you're not gonna be really mad.
Maybe that's what I need to do. Just join a metal band.
Oh my god.
I would say go to the gym, but we all know that's not going to happen.
Well, it's not necessarily as fun as being in a metal band. But yeah, you could thrash around on stage.
Could you imagine my fat ass thrashing around on stage?
Yes,
Yes.
It would be awful.
it would be great.
No,
I would injure myself.
that's
That would
okay. It's all
that'd
for
be less
crowd
great.
entertainment.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's for our
Masami.
entertainment.
Wow. We want you to kill yourself for our entertainment.
God damn it! Now I'm trying to remember the name of the hardcore punk artist who, Jesus Christ, there's a documentary about him. He used to like take shits on stage and throw it at fans. Died of a heroin overdose when he was in his 30s. Something savage. I don't remember. Anyway, be like that guy. He was hardcore.
He was something flinging poo at people.
Take a shit in your hand, throw it at people.
Hey, if you're gonna be about it, then fucking be about it.
It's fucking right. I gotta look it up now before we go out. I gotta figure out what this guy's name was. How's Diablo working for you? Zero, Omega.
Love it.
I'm killing lots of stuff. It's good.
I have I'm becoming very fond of the sorcerer.
His name was G.G. Allen, by the way. All I had to do was search Google for hardcore punk scat heroin overdose. The first thing that comes up is G.G. Allen's Wikipedia page. Yup.
Well done.
Internet is undefeated.
Sometimes you just got to know the right search terms.
Yeah, I watched that documentary. That guy, that was a complicated individual. I mean, remarkably simple, but complicated. Oh well.
I need to gamble some obols. Doc, have you ever figured out what was wrong with your Diablo game?
No, I'm just waiting for patches to come out for them to address technical issues. They'll get to it. I fought, I got to, I don't know where I am in the story, but I fought Lilith in Hell the other day, and it didn't crash, so that's hopeful.
I mean, if you fought Lilith, then
Yeah, you're done with the
that's the
campaign.
game.
Oh, really? It told me to go back to town and do more shit and talk to some people, and I was just like, okay.
Well, I mean,
I'll do
there's a prologue. There's always a
Okay.
prologue.
Okay. And, yeah. But, yeah, no, I'm just waiting for patches to come out. I'm honestly waiting to see how the game evolves. I'm waiting to see what they do with seasons, because that's the next big thing that people are looking forward to at this point.
Hey, just remember, everybody's pissed off. Well, sorry, when I say everybody, I mean the small subset of people who have never played Diablo are pissed off that
You have to start a new
you
character.
have to create a new character every single season. Welcome to Diablo, bitches.
So I had a thought of that about that specifically, and that was that when Reaper of Souls came out, that's about when we got Nephilim rifts and grifts, and discovered that torment level, or we got new torment levels. The difficulty system got revamped, so we had a way to jump into a dungeon which was designed for us to get Paragon points. So it gave us a lot of XP, and we could also level up new characters very quickly. And after those systems were implemented, we got seasons. So everybody who has played D3, including myself, I'm used to, when a new season hops in, getting a character from 0 to 70 in like 2 hours, mainly because Leetness has already been playing for a day and a half, and he power levels me, and I give him a hand job, and that's that. High future Leetness. But this game, we don't have that, so yeah, you are going to have to create a new character, and you are going to have to get to 50 or 100 or whatever, however, I don't know how you want to play it. But yeah, that basically means, right now, doing dungeons. You just got to do dungeons, and the leveling process will be slower than it was in D3. That's just the state of the game right now.
They
That's also by
have...
design.
Yeah.
Wanted it to go back to more of a D2 feel, and they've succeeded in doing that.
So
but also, just the same, even in Diablo 2, when a new ladder started, you started a new character from 0. Like, that's...
Sure.
It's not just a Diablo 3 thing. That's just Diablo's heritage as a game.
Oh, no. Yeah, that is Diablo's heritage as a game, absolutely. I was saying that in D3, they streamlined the leveling process. The Nephilim rifts and grifts and insane torment levels. But my point was, that came, like, 2-3 years into the game. Like, we're a month in. So don't expect this game to be a clone of D3 is basically what I'm telling most people.
Well, but here's the thing, like, valid criticism where it's due. One way that I heard it put is, Blizzard has said, Diablo 3 was a 10-year-old game. This is a 10-day-old game. It's unfair to make these comparisons. But at the same, that sounds good.
It sounds reasonable,
but
what you're actually doing is taking steps back.
Well, when you think about it, it's just a totally valid question to say, like, why didn't you just use these things that you had developed over those 10 years? Like, why are you pretending like those 10 years of development didn't happen? Why did you not start from a place where Diablo 3 had already gotten with some things like quality of life features that are entirely missing, matchmaking features that are entirely missing? Like,
yes, that is
there's
valid
room
criticism.
for that shit.
The
Like-
reason that we all know the reason that they're doing that. They're doing that so that they can slowly evolve this game into D3 over the next 2 to 3 years to keep interest in the game by having these updates trickle out. That's what will keep people around and playing. So they're buying themselves time. They're literally buying themselves time.
Well, they did say that they were changing something about the leveling. They were increasing XP gains by like 10,000% or something like that. Some insane number. It was.
I did
it was
not read that.
massive. Yeah,
Yeah, I missed that.
It's massive. But they just. Let's see here. Hang on. Let me see if I can find it. XP boost. Diablo 4. There we go.
I know that there were certain dungeons and areas that people were farming to level faster, and they nerfed those areas because they didn't want. We talked about this. They didn't want the sunken dungeon, or the sunken ruins, from D3 all over again. But yeah, if they're also making areas that, I guess a good place to do that would be a capstone dungeon. I guess when you've unlocked that at the end, and you actually need to start pouring XP into Paragons or try to get to all the way to 50, even 50. I don't know. I don't know that much about the leveling process. I think I'm only 47.
Well, what
Here it is.
people have... Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Blizzard has confirmed that it has been confirmed by Blizzard that they will feature and or XP boost will feature and will increase the XP you obtain for a limited period of time. Okay, that's not what I was looking for.
Is that an XP boost that applies to a certain amount of time after a season starts? Or is that an XP boost that you can buy in the store?
Good question. According to this Deserto article, which I take with a huge grain of salt because it is Deserto, there's going to be Blizzard has announced that they're going to have XP boost within the game itself. These will be limited time boosts that will increase your XP that you obtain for a period of time. These can usually be found in the forms of shrines, for XP boost for a few minutes, and when you activate one, kill enemies as possible to maximize the benefit of the buff. So pretty much they're going to add the XP boost shrine back. Yeah, piss pot.
Okay.
The game currently doesn't have those, so...
Yeah, Immortal had its version of a XP shrine as well. Like, that should be there. I feel like that's kind of a Diablo staple that doesn't feel out of place.
Very much so. I think Diablo 1 even had shrines for experience. But yeah, that is the thing that should be in game.
Woot. Yay,
Oh.
now it's time to go and find all of the Lilith shrines in Fractured Peaks.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Get your renown up.
Say what?
Gotta get your renown up.
Yeah, well, I am at level... Where am I at? Level 5 right now, or 4. I'm 10 points into level 5, so, and I've gotten all the waypoints, all the strongholds, and all the areas discovered.
You have so many
Nice.
side quests. You have 25 side quests to do.
I know. I've
You must-
really
you
got
must do a side quest. Poor people, they need your help. You need to help them find their slippers.
also need to do the side dungeons.
The one thing I haven't talked about before that is really cool about the side quests, specifically in Hawazar, which is the region in the bottom right. The side quests in most of the game are here's this little stupid thing. Go help them do this little stupid thing. this dumb person did a stupid thing. Go find the thing that they left behind. But then you get to Hauzar, and the side quests are like Act 7. It's like a fucking prologue of the game and like the actual story. So I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but I will say when you do get to Hauzar and you start doing those side quests, like don't just skip right through them or quickly reading past them. There's some really interesting stuff going on.
I wonder what Linus has to say about that. Nothing, because the soundboard does not work. Wait a minute, the soundboard doesn't work? What is the soundboard? Hold on a second here. Hold on just a second.
Hello there.
No, that's the wrong soundboard.
Wrong soundboard.
It did sound bad.
God fucking damn it!
That's interesting. Alright, I've got to go over the soundboard again because things have changed in here. Wait, mute? Oh, that's top plus that. Yeah, no, that should totally work. This should totally fucking work.
One of my friends in his server has put some really fun stuff.
What are you doing, step bro?
Oh no.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, it's time for the post show.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for coming along. Yeah, we'll be back same time as with us next week. Penis, fuck Putin, fuck Winnie the Pooh, and fuck Nestle. Yeah.
Welcome.
Have a good week. Love ya.
Mm-hmm.